themes that I look really forward to discussing, and where we have a Mentimeter. Perfect. So you can go to menti.com on your smartphones or any device that has a camera, and then you can tap the QR code symbol on the menti.com homepage, and you can scan the QR code. With some technical issues, we are actually catching up in modern times. Does it work? Does it work? Give me a thumbs up if it's working. Yes. See some are accessing it. Wonderful. And one. It's quite good. Can we see if we have if it works, and we can go to the next question?
Try. Yeah, then we can move to the next.
Yes, we can take. Can you make us pass to the next question? We need to, within the Menti, someone who knows.
It's Linnea.
System needs.
It's Linnea.
It's Linnea. Technology is a hard thing. I'm glad I'm not studying it.
So is it still the first one?
Yes.
No, what is the waiting?
Okay. Do you have the question? Okay.
So I'm fairly sure that the second question that is being asked, what is your expectations about the conference?
Speaker, and then we try this. And we have just
Kanske ska lägga ner mötet på en hand.
Då har de förhoppningarna sådan. Yes, you can move on now.
So yeah, let's call it a day for the Menti questions, and say that it was a nice stream of technology. Hope it works better for
The next session.
Sorry? In the next session?
Yes,
We'll
yes.
come back to Menti with renewed efforts. And let us instead introduce our keynote speaker for today. And also who is chairperson for the
Is that with name?
Yes, but I'm having like 10% size. It's not possible to read this. Introducing Britta Leijon, who is the current president of the Fackförbundet ST, who's also our co-organizers for this conference and close collaborators and partners. We're really grateful to have you here. She's the former cabinet member of the Swedish government and also a former member of the Swedish parliament. And you're also former president of the Swedish Library Association. There are lots of different roles where you have long experience of the sector.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
very much.
Thank you. Very happy to be here. I hope you are able to hear me, and that those who are joining us on video is able to follow this. I hope so. Otherwise, I hope you give me a. So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to Uppsala and Sweden, to those of you who have never been here before. You are gathering here at a time when the challenges to our common future are increasing. Who could have thought that we once again would experience yet another devastating war in Europe? Russia's war against Ukraine is an attack against a peaceful neighbor, but it is also an attack on us all. War crimes are now committed against children, men, and women. By doing this, Russia is changing history in Europe. There will be an end also to this war. And when that day comes, Ukraine is changed, Russia is changed, but also the whole common peaceful future of Europe has changed. European politics, economics, and history will be changed forever. The only positive effect this war has had so far is that Europe has been able to come together. We have joined our devoted nations in the defense for Ukraine's right to exist, to choose its own way, to defend freedom and the rule of law. Let us hope that this capacity to cooperate and to come together will last as long as it is needed. My trade union, Fackförbundet ST, has had an intense cooperation for many years with our sister trade union in Ukraine, SEUU. Our department at the universities, which is one of the organizers of this conference, has been deeply involved in that cooperation. Our friends and colleagues in Ukraine are now making heroic efforts in humanitarian aid, giving civilians medicine, warm clothes, helping them to flee, strengthening the resistance against Russia in many different ways. It is so impressive to see these young professionals, often women, since the men are in the army. They are racing to the church, even though they are very, very young. They are fighting for their lives, for the right to freedom, and for the right to choose a society based on democracy, rule of law, and human rights. In this time of history, our responsibility is to support them and to join them in their fight. This conference is about academic freedom and about the conditions that young scientists and researchers face. These themes or questions are extremely important right now. In many countries, the development is going in the wrong direction. The last 10 years, the degree of academic freedom has declined in 22 countries. In Europe, the situation is especially bad in Turkey, Poland, and Hungary. And I am very worried that this development now also is affecting universities in Sweden. The Swedish government recently declared that they are drastically shortening how long time the executive boards of the universities are appointed. The argument was referring to increased need for competence about security matters. It sounds a little bit strange. Of course, the society as a whole need that competence. The war has created a new situation for us all, including the universities. But the executive boards are not dealing with operational matters so often. No matter the argument, the drastic change that this is opening up for a more detailed political involvement in how the universities are governed. This has, of course, been highly criticized by Swedish universities, by academic intellectuals, and trade unions. We regard this as a threat against the academic freedom, and we will, of course, do what we can to oppose it and to change it. We will be following this development very closely, very carefully. We don't want to see Sweden or other countries walking the same path as Turkey. I don't know if there are any friends from Turkey here, but I have been present at trials in Turkey, in Turkish court against researchers, university teachers, and other public officials. These trials are tools for the autocratic regime to harass and destroy ordinary people who only want to do their job, to want to participate in the European research community, and who want to stand up for academic freedom, rule of law, freedom of speech, and defending human rights and trade union rights. These so-called trials, where academic careers and lives are destroyed, are a disgrace to the Turkish regime. And I am sad to say that I can't see any change for the better. This last weekend, people from my trade union has once again been present at new Turkish trials against university teachers. This conference is also about improving the conditions that young researchers face. This is very important. To start a career as a young researcher is a very demanding task. It is very few that are given the opportunity. The task itself is about searching for new knowledge. That includes to oppose what up to now has been looked upon as truth. You are supposed to do that at a time when your work as a researcher is new to yourself. And during the process to become a researcher, a competent, skilled, experienced researcher, you need support from more experienced colleagues. And even if you, in the best circumstances, get that, this time in your life and your career is a fragile time. It should be a time of hard work and concentration on the task, a time where you grow as a researcher. Today, some of our young researchers instead need to worry about how to make a living or how to get the adequate supervision they need. So the conditions young researchers face need to be good, and we know that this not always is the case. Better terms of employment, decent and competitive salaries are highly needed, and the universities also must be better to work to reduce stress and improve the working conditions. The dependency on superiors is high, and an adequate and ethical supervision is a key in this context. As a society, we need not only new competent and skilled researchers. I would say that our future is depending upon you. Not only because the fact that, at least in Sweden, a very big proportion of the research is performed and conducted by young researchers, but because the tremendous challenges that we are facing as societies today. You have already mentioned some of them. We need new knowledge if we are going to be able to survive during the age of climate change. We need new knowledge to be able to make the best use of AI. And of course, knowledge is not the only prerequisite that is needed. We also need to be able to make use of the knowledge in a way that creates better societies and life for the many. I am very happy to see you all here today. The fact that you come together and use your experience, your time, and your knowledge to explore, to discuss, and talk about these questions that are so crucial for all of us gives hope. And hope for our common future is highly needed today. Hope based upon knowledge and devotion is an even more scarce. dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. I wish you all a very constructive, interesting and successful conference. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words. It's, as you say, hope, and we hope for that a lot of the topics that you have brought up will stimulate fruitful discussions throughout the coming days. We'll move on to the next point of the agenda, which is a break. So you will have the possibility to stretch your legs until 11 when we will start the first session. So please be back at 11 sharp and we will start the first session. And now it's time for a break.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
For the first session, really all the speakers we seated here. And we're gonna know if